volunteer internship for Susan G. Komen across Pennsylvania, both on the east side and the west side. We have some great opportunities, so excited to share those with you. I want to start by introducing myself and the team with Komen in Pennsylvania. So for those of you that I have not met, my name is Brandy Engelberger, and I'm the executive director for Susan G. Komen across Pennsylvania. And would love for you to meet the rest of the team. So for those of you that don't know, and if we could just go on mute, so we don't any background noise. But Molly, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi, good afternoon. My name is Molly Sweet, and I am the Western PA Development Manager here. So I run all things in the Pittsburgh area, the More Than Pink Walk, and all things breast cancer related for the community.
And hi, everyone. My name is Taylor Kazoka. I'm on the other side of the state in the Philadelphia area, covering everywhere from, Harrisburg, Scranton, and Philly area. So if you're on that side of the state or the eastern side of the state, I'm your contact. I'm also our technical guru over here.
That's true.
Saying that with a lot of laughter because I will mess this up about 5 times as I'm sharing this. So please bear with me.
And thank you, Taylor and Molly. And we would love to hear from you and where you are. So you should all have access to the chat box. Would love to hear, we could see your name, but if you want to include your name and where you live, how long, if you've been involved with Komen, how long you've been involved with Komen. And then we ask, what is your why? Why did you join this call? Why are you interested in getting involved with Komen? So if you want to put your answers in the chat box, then we can all get to know each other a little bit better as we go through the rest of the presentation.
So I'm going to kick us off with our mission. It's very simple. We picture a world without breast cancer. I always jokingly say that I will be the happiest person in the unemployment line when there's a cure. So that is our entire company's goal, is we want to find cures for breast cancer to finally create that world. And how do we do so? It's with our mission of saving lives by meeting the most critical needs in our communities, investing in breakthrough research to prevent and cure breast cancer. So in a few slides, we're going to explain what we do as a company and how you guys can assist in that. But real fast, we wanted to do a mission moment of our newest mission, and that is Share for Cures. So this is brand new. I actually think it launched in July. It's extremely new, but it's called Share for Cures. So Share for Cures, it's a research registry because everybody is different. Their breast cancer is different. Their diagnosis is different. Their cells are different. There's no two people that are alike. And we are trying to give researchers the most access to the most number of people so they can see that Jane Doe over here is reacting similar to this person in Kansas. What's similar? What's different? Why is this treatment working for them and not for them? So we are asking that anybody that had a breast cancer diagnosis to please register for this. It's really a questionnaire and asking some medical history. I don't believe there is additional testing unless it shows up that we need it, or if you guys could really make a difference in one of the researchers is asking for something. But for the most part, it's just a questionnaire and medical history. So anybody who's over the age of 18 and has been diagnosed with breast cancer, we would love for you to do this. Our own CEO, Paula Schneider, has actually also done this because she's a breast cancer survivor. So she is sharing her knowledge and her background to really help find these cures. Your privacy is completely secure. We don't share, we do follow HIPAA, so we don't share, name, address, other personal identifiable information, anything like that. And if anybody has additional questions, would like more information, feel free to look at our website at komen.org/share4cures, or by calling 1-877-465-6636 for more information. But if you are a survivor, this is an incredible way to get more data into researchers' hands so we can find these cures that we're so desperate for. And I'm going to pass it over to Molly.
Thanks, Taylor. Thanks for leading it with mission. We here at Komen lead all of our webinars and meetings with mission because it's what unites us all and why we are all here collectively together. So Komen looks at our mission in a 360-degree approach, an all-around approach, where we drive research, we connect constituents to care, we unite the community, and we take action. Let's break that down, those 4 pillars down, and see a little bit more deeply about that. So what does that mean? Where do those research dollars go? I get asked this question about 10 times a day, and I love getting asked that question because the answer is exactly, I believe, how it should be. Here's a really great slide that shows that 57% total research dollars percent of dollars get allocated to metastatic and recurrence focus. And in these studies, we also learn a lot about prolonged life therapies and such things that come from that. 16% is on disparity focus and bringing that smaller, and we currently have active 39 clinical trials that are taking place. So that's research. Next slide, please. So care. We connect our constituency through our 877 number to care 24/7 and in several languages. This is a slide I love that talks about the care that this patient received from Komen. It made all of the difference, as she says, and her financial burdens were not so. And every fundraising dollar that we make makes us able to give money and support to patients directly, just like this constituent. And community, the Komen Scientific Advisory Board tells us that we could reduce breast cancer disparities by 30% today without changing a single new thing or having one more breakthrough, if we could simply just get people the access to care and support that they need. Sounds easy, but it's not. Many people face obstacles to care that many others have therefore delay or forego the breast cancer altogether. Today, we'll be able to try to break those barriers down and get more people to care. And the last slide is also a very, very important take action slide. At the federal, state, and local level, Komen Center for Public Policy works to secure hundreds of millions of dollars for breast cancer research safety net programs. These policy changes are needed every year. You can become an advocate, and I highly recommend doing so. It's very simple, and your voice. We have all of the tools to set you right up for success. Simply text Komen to 40649 and become a Komen advocate. They'll text you when they need to hear your voice. You can add your signature to many important lists and legislation. And believe me, there's some very important bills on the floor right now in regards to diagnostic testing and what will be covered.
Thank you, Molly and Taylor. And all of this is to say we're doing really great work here at Komen, but we absolutely could not do it without you. We would not be able to achieve our life-saving mission if we didn't have people participating in our events and if we didn't have people volunteering to help us put on these events that drive revenue so that we're able to put money into research, care, community, and action. So thank you for being here and your interest in learning more about it. A little bit, Molly and Taylor talked about, what we're doing, and then a little bit more specifically here in Pennsylvania, where we've been in terms of our events and how we're driving revenue in Pennsylvania so that we can do all of this stuff across the country and in Pennsylvania. This past year, we had our More Than Pink Walk, which it sounds like a lot of you were at or participated in, or maybe participated in for several years. We're excited that between the walk in East Pennsylvania and the walk in Pittsburgh, we raised almost $200,000 in corporate sponsorship. So corporate leaders coming together in the fight against breast cancer. What's really exciting is that our fundraising. So a lot of this is you mentioned in the chat, you walk for your aunt or your mom, and you work with friends and family. These teams raised over $400,000 towards our mission. And we engaged over 5,200 participants with 388 teams. And we were able to engage 846 survivors. And that's probably a little bit of a low ball because there's also folks that we don't capture in a registration. So probably even more than that. But that's where we were this year. And given the lofty goals of Komen and what we want to achieve in Pennsylvania, where we really want to take these events is here. We know that these events have tons of potential to engage more people, to educate more people, to bring the community together in more ways. And so where we're going and our plan for these two events is to become $1 million fundraising events, more than Pink Walks across the country, to have 10,000 or more participants participating, and to increase our volunteers and engage more survivors and thrivers. So that's really our goal of where we want to be, so that we can continue to improve lives. And we've thought a lot about how will we get there. Obviously, these are lofty goals, and we're not just going to get there by doing nothing, right? So we've really, our team in Pennsylvania, we've given a lot of thought to how can we get these to be $1 million more than Pink Walks? How can we engage more of the community and increase our participation and have more people helping towards the mission? So we will continue to strive to put on a 5-star event experience and provide a 5-star event experience to our participants. We know that we'll have to continue to retain our teams and engage those teams that do fundraise for us and that do participate year after year. And we'll also have to look towards new teams and new corporate recruitment. So, engaging new corporations, but also, it's a sad reality, but new people are constantly being diagnosed with breast cancer. So we need to engage those folks and their families as they do that. We need to increase our survivor recruitment and be able to educate the survivor community in Pennsylvania of the services that we provide and the ways that we can help them. And then we're also working to build out an executive leadership committee. So essentially a board for these walks of industry leaders from a variety of industries across Pennsylvania who are going to help kind of lend their name and their corporation and their face to the campaign so that we can do all of these things. And so what we need to get there, that's kind of our plan. We need volunteers, right? And so that's why we have this call today. We need volunteer leads to really own elements of this event. Again, going back to the idea of a 5-star event experience, we want our events to be representative of the community. And so we want community members to help us create that event experience. So we need those volunteer leads that are going to own elements of the event. We need volunteers that will help us with the recruitment. So things like phone calls to maybe people that are registered to see if they need help or to thank them for registering. Always ideas and introductions to new potential teams. Who do you know that might want to get involved? We're always, again, trying to connect with more survivors. So any introductions to survivor groups or introductions, again, for that executive leadership committee. But in terms of today, what we're really going to dive into is this volunteer leads and what we are calling our operations committee, and really kind of the behind the scenes, everything that goes on behind the scenes to make these events possible. I'm going to pass it to Molly.
It's me again. Hello, everybody again. So yes, it takes a village, as they say, right? To put together a fun experience day. There's so many components to it. So in both Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, we have the Save the Pink Day. So here are our dates for, if you can believe we're talking about it already, but we are, 2024 Greater Philadelphia is going to be hosted again at the Pars Casino on Mother's Day, once again, Sunday, May 12th. Here in Pittsburgh, last year, we had to move the walk by 1 week because Carnegie Mellon University has shifted. Their graduation is now on Mother's Day. So tentatively, we are holding May 19th. Stay tuned. That is not confirmed as of yet. And should that change, you'll be hearing from Molly Sweet about that ad nauseum. So stay tuned on the walk date. So as Brandy was just chatting about, operation committee chairs and members are very important, and they're important in a regard because there's one staff member here, and really what we would love to see, like Brandy also said, is this really being a community event. So what we want to have it be is volunteer driven and staff supported. So almost like I'm the campaign manager helping each component of this walk. Here's a nice little breakdown for you guys of like what you're looking at from a time commitment standpoint. I know even in my busy life, if somebody, I've been on a lot of committees and done a few walks myself when I was in another life. And it's always, what's that gonna, how much time is that? Are those meetings all the time? Are they every week? And it's pretty much a light lift as far as that. We really kind of need your enthusiasm and your ownership and your participation with all your family and friends around you, and hopefully even your corporations. So the time commitment, we usually will do a monthly strategy meeting with me as your Komen staff here in Pittsburgh and with Taylor in the Philadelphia area. Maybe we could say that's going to be about 1 hour each month. And the committee meetings, we'll try to have 7 full committee meetings when we get our full committee together, and we'd like to start those in October, again, 1 hour each month. And then just some outreach, like Brandy mentioned, to constituents. You know, sometimes folks get sick of hearing from me all the time, and it's nice to have a team that's behind this walk and we're all in it together. So helping in that regard, helping thinking about how you can make your area personalized, special for what your area is. Every area has, and we're going to go into more depth on that, their own particular kind of high level needs, things that are really important that we want to make sure we get. And therefore, we really want the right person in that role, that it's their pleasure to be there. And as far as the commitment for the actual walk, we're going to need folks there for the setup day, which is the day before, and then of course for the walk day and the clean up over that walk weekend.
Thanks, Molly. So our first committee, I'm going to be breaking down each area where we need committee members for to make up our one giant committee. But one of our first and most popular committees is our Hope Village committee. So this is where we're going to honor and celebrate our survivors and those living with metastatic breast cancer. This is a fun, exciting, relaxing area for them to come and meet with other survivors and metastatic thrivers. Just kind of really enjoy that survivorhood. While I know there are male breast cancer patients, I do know that mostly it's female in there, and they will call this the sisterhood at times. It's a lot of pink. It's a lot of fun. We try to create activities in there where you just kind of enjoyed your time. I know some people stayed in Hope Village the entire walk. They didn't even walk. They just stayed in there. Usually we have refreshments for the Philly area. We had Wawa donating coffee and ShopRite donating bagels and breakfast food. Just fun different activities, a photo booth, boards where you can write your name, write while you're walking, write how many years of a survivor you are, all things like that. But what we need help with. So we need somebody who's going to coordinate these survivor tent logistics. I would love to grow this area even more than it already is. So what activities do we want? Do we want giveaways? Do we want a bigger photo booth? Do we want music in there? I'm just coming up with ideas now, but somebody to help with decor. How do we want to decorate Hope Village? What makes the most sense in there? Arranging for prizes. How are we going to do the prizes? Do we go to local area stores? Is somebody going to donate baskets? What prizes would we like? Doing survivor outreach. This is possibly the biggest part of it. Like Molly said, people get tired of hearing from us. We feel it, we know, don't worry. We don't take it personal. But we love when survivors can connect with other survivors, or someone living with metastatic breast cancer can connect with somebody living with metastatic breast cancer. It really, really creates that sisterhood that is being said. And lastly, coordinating the Pathway of Hope procession. This is big. This is where we all honor our survivors during our opening ceremony. And we need somebody who's going to be able to get everybody in order and in line. And that's not an easy task. So trying to arrange a few hundred survivors to get in a path is really, really difficult at times, but it can be rewarding once it happens. So we need somebody who can own this area and make it like their baby and have their event kick off, be either Philly or Pittsburgh, really have this area theirs and making it shine. Next is our Pillar Tent Committee. This is part of our missions. So as Molly mentioned, the research, care, community, and action. This is where we need volunteers as well. So a lot of this would be helping with other areas, but also helping with the pillar tent area. On walk day, as you can see, our volunteers eagerly putting up these tents. It takes a little bit. So we do need quite a few volunteers for each of our 4 tents. We do try to get 2 to 4. It's a little difficult sometimes, but each tent has a different activity. In the research, you can learn more about metastatic breast cancer. We have a great mannequin that shows like the different areas where metastatic can spread to. Community, we actually have a map where you can put where you're from, so we can see where all of our participants are from and how we are one community. Care, we have a great matching game where you can learn more about the Komen services. And in action is where you can sign up to become a Komen advocate and share why you are walking and why you want to become an advocate. So helping to recruit volunteers for that area, as well as assisting staff with providing walk day volunteers with training. There's a lot of information going on in these tents, and we don't expect everybody to know it morning of. So we do try to provide training, and this is where that committee lead would be helping us. And of course, support in setting up and breaking down the pillar tents. So if you're somebody who's really interested in our mission, this is the perfect area for you to learn more yourself, as well as to educate the community.
And I'll just jump in real quick and say sometimes also in those pillar areas, you'll see, sometimes you'll see activations of another kind, like a research activation from a hospital or something. So they can grow as well, but Taylor's right. It's kind of the place to be to learn all things Komen in the 360-degree approach.
Absolutely. And they're also changing. So there might be new activities next year.
Upgrading better
yes.
next year.
Yes, they're upgrading year over year. So it's a really fun area to be as well. All right, next is our registration and recruitment committee. This is the bread and butter, our hello and welcome staff, as I say. This is where you can use your social networks to help us raise awareness and support of the event. So if you have a big network, or if you just know how to get the word out, this is the perfect area for you to own. And that's what we need. We need assistance with team and individual recruitment. Like Brandy said, we're trying to grow these events. So if you know somebody who works at the XYZ store that's interested in getting their store involved, perfect. Outreach. Molly and I are just one person each in each city. So we really need help outreach with our teams and welcoming them and saying, hello, what's your story? Why are you fundraising? How can we help? And we could really use a team to help us with that. We'd also ask for you to help recruit our volunteers for the day of and train them. So during day of, our registration table is where if somebody wants to register day of, they can. Somebody wants to make a donation day of, they can. If they have questions about the event, that's where they would go to the registration table.
No t-shirt distribution. They don't have to be in charge of that any longer.
No, there's no more distribution now. Our t-shirts are they get mailed ahead of time or at post event, so there's no more t-shirt distribution at registration. But on walk day, you're responsible for greeting participants, assisting with the t-shirt concerns in case anybody is saying, where's my shirt? I didn't get one. We ask you to take their name and we make note of it. Collect donations and register walk-up volunteers. Next is another fun tent. It's for our VIP and top teams. I had a lot of fun in this tent anyway. This past year, I spent a lot of time here. It was great. Our top fundraisers are anybody who raises $1,000 individually, and top teams are any team that raises $2,500 together. Similar to Hope Village, we are looking for somebody to coordinate all of the logistics. So activity, decor, prizes again. What are we looking for? Helping to create the signs to congratulate these teams on their hard work. And also doing VIP and top team outreach. Is it writing letters? Is it phone calls, sending text messages? What's the best way to reach these individuals? And to celebrate and say thank you. Lastly is our volunteer committee. These are the volunteer leads of the volunteers. So we have about 100 volunteers, give or take, probably more, between the two events, and we need help organizing them. especially day of. So the task for this area would include coordinating job assignments, orienting these individuals, whether it's doing a Zoom video where we can kind of just explain step by step where they're going to be and what their role is, as well as providing training. We do like to give our volunteers background information about our mission, because if somebody comes up with you and asks a question, we would love for you guys to have the answer. Communication outreach to new volunteers, welcoming them, saying hello, saying, you know, what area are you interested in participating in? Because a lot of people will put general support, but they're interested in working with survivors or in the mission tent. So really identifying where they would like to be. Help with recruiting. So if you know companies who have volunteers, or if you know a church group that likes to volunteer, or a student organization, this is a great way for them to get involved as well. And lastly is managing the volunteer tent on walk day. So checking everybody in, making sure their volunteers get their shirts, know their assignments, and just getting our day of tasks started, because once the volunteers come, that event starts very quickly. It feels like a blink of an eye and people start coming. So it's a fast morning, and we need a really, really great volunteer lead to help us organize everybody coming that quickly. I'm going to pass it back to Molly.
Well, I love the way you ended that with, we're going to need a great volunteer lead to make it all run smoothly. And I'm very, very happy to say I was very fortunate to have just a volunteer show up in the nick of time in Pittsburgh last year for our Hope Village activation. And I'm going to introduce you all to my friend, Canberra Zelby, who's an owner of not one, not two, soon to be 3 Crumble Cookies here in Pittsburgh. And when we met, we discussed ways that she could get involved with Komen, and she was the lead volunteer in our Hope Village this past walk. And as you can see in the picture there, there's some of her staff, and they served up beautiful silver trays of pink cookies. And I'm going to let Canberra speak in her own words and just explain the experience from her perspective, and of how she felt as a business owner, as a busy lady running and having some responsibility over the Hope Village tent.
Awesome. Thanks, Molly. Nice to meet everyone. This was by far my favorite event that I've ever volunteered at. It was such a special experience to be a part of. The Hope Village is amazing because you get to host the survivors, and I was fortunate enough to create this kind of experience for them. I've just moved to the Pittsburgh area about 2 years ago, so I was new to this walk and new to the experience, but me and Molly and Brandy and the team kind of brainstormed a couple ideas of what we were looking for, and we met with, you know, the previous leads of the tent, and we gathered some ideas of as far as decorations and things like that, and it turned out really wonderful. So we had, you know, a photo booth, we had breakfast for the survivors, we had prizes that we donated or that we got donated from like the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Steelers and the Pirates, and did a raffle that way. And my favorite part of the whole thing was we did this pink carpet that each survivor got to walk down into the tent, and everyone clapped for them as they walked in. And it was really a special experience that each survivor kind of got to feel, you know, celebrated in that way. So that was really something that I would suggest carrying to each Hope Village tent to make them kind of feel special and loved. And then, as Molly mentioned, we had these silver platters with pink sugar cookies. And initially when me and Molly met, it kind of was like, Crumble has pink sugar cookies. How can we get them involved with Komen? Because pink is the theme, and it worked out perfectly that it just, it fit the theme perfectly. And it was a really special thing. And I think we brought about 800 to 1,000 cookies, and we're just passing them out to everyone and anyone there. And it was a really way to elevate the tent and make it feel like kind of a special thing. And I also got my staff involved in the tent, and I got them all matching pink hoodies that, you know, made them kind of stand out, and they helped in different ways. And it was really just a great experience. And they still talk about how much fun they had. And all of them afterwards were like, I want to get involved in more things in the community. I feel so good. I love doing this kind of stuff. So it's that kind of stuff as a business owner that I feel is the most impactful, to really connect with your community and to get involved, but create opportunities for people that they just didn't know existed. So I loved it. Right after it ended, I was like, Molly, how can I get more involved? Moving forward, it was just such a great experience, and I think there's such a chance to make it exactly what it needs to be moving forward. So
yeah, I definitely think there's room to grow. Kimberly, you were great explanation, and you did it in what I would say was the perfect lead. She did everything perfectly. She was able to get her business, the face of her business out there in the community, but also do so much good, show her employees the good that she's doing. It was fun. And it was a hit. I will say, I've been looking through the surveys, and the silver trade cookies were a hit. They came up in writing several times. So that was a simple thing to do, guys. I had the silver tray, she had the cookies, not a big deal. So when you have the right people in the right areas with the right energy, you can have a fabulous $1 million walk. I'm sure we can do it. So thank you so much for your insight, Cambria. It makes things a lot easier.
yeah, of course. Thank
Thank you, Cambria. And moving on to other volunteer opportunities, because we're not just walk all year round. The first of these being, and I can't name a specific event because they do pop up, but we're trying to create a team that would be interested in doing school sports and community event tabling. This is where you really become a representative of Susan G. Komen for Pennsylvania or Delaware. If anybody's in Delaware and is interested as well, please let us know. It's big on handing out breast cancer education materials, sharing Komen resources, and recruiting more volunteers, because we could always use more volunteers. This is your reason for sharing why you're involved with the community. Is it to increase education? Is it because you have a personal history? What is your reason for wanting to get involved? A lot of this involves check presentations, photo opportunities, and even becoming a media story. If the media comes, or if they're interested in coming to an event, we really would love for you to share your why with them as well. These are also fun events. So in the bottom photo, I don't know if Erica's on the call or not, but if she is, hi, Erica. She's one of my favorite volunteers for tabling, but we actually went to the Rita's grand opening at Rivers Casino last year, and we had so much fun at that event, but they become fun as well. Above is a sports team who did a powder puff football game, and it was a pink out day, but they become really, really fun events, and you get to meet other people in the community. And what we're willing to provide you is materials needed and education before the event. So you're not going in blind, you know exactly what you're going to be getting into. And of course, we send you with our contacts, like our business cards. So if people have questions and want follow-up, feel free to give them our information, and we're always happy to meet with them as well. If you are interested in becoming a Komen volunteer for events like this, feel free to scan the QR code or visit the website at, I shortened it, at bit.ly/Komen PA volunteer. This website will take you to a form where you can fill out your name, email, phone number, and where you're located and what kind of events you would like to do. This would really give us a resource that, say we have an event in, I don't know, Bensalem, and we're looking for somebody to do a tabling event. We can reach out to you and say, hey, I have an event on October 15th. Would you be interested in doing it at the school? And we can give you all the resources beforehand. Extremely helpful for us in creating that mission, as well as for you guys for getting involved more in the community and learning about different companies or sports teams, anything like that. For my Philadelphia friends, this is for us. We are actually hosting our first metastatic breast cancer conference. It's going to be on Saturday, November 4th, 2023. It's at 29th and Arch in Center City. The building, it's at Cytoville, which is right next to 30th Street Station. So if you accept our Amtrak in, there's apparently a bridge connected. And I've been to 30th Street a million times. And I swear I've never seen a bridge, but apparently there's a bridge connecting them. Or if you know somebody with metastatic breast cancer, feel free to share this information with them as well. It's a free conference to attend. It's going to be a half-day event, so from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. with a networking breakfast in the beginning. But we are looking for volunteers. We are still kind of establishing roles and getting an actual sign up going. But in the meantime, we're looking for people for setup and breakdown of event day. So hanging up the signs, getting the rooms ready, making sure the AV is working, all of that. To meet with NBC Thrivers and loved ones as they come in, help register them, give them their swag bags, say hello, give them name tag, all of that fun stuff, letting them know where to go next. Hearing from the local area providers to help, or helping local area providers and helping guide sponsor tables. So we do have doctors coming in and they're going to need directions or have a volunteer take them to their specific room that they're going to be speaking in, as well as the sponsors tables who are going to need volunteers to guide sponsors to where they're going to be located. Assisting speakers individual breakout rooms. So we are going to need volunteers in each room to either help get the questions from the audience, making sure if they need, if you're a tech girl, unlike me, helping, with PowerPoint presentation, just kind of guiding people in and welcoming people to the individual breakout room, because there's nothing worse than somebody coming in, sitting down, realizing they're in the wrong room and sprinting out. So we're really trying to give people that, handing out education materials if needed, all of that fun stuff for each breakout room. And as like I mentioned before, providing directions to participants as they come in and answering questions at the door. So we're really excited about this upcoming event as well. And if anybody is interested, if you have metastatic breast cancer or a loved one that has metastatic breast cancer and you're interested in helping us set up this event, please let me know. Obviously, volunteering is open to everybody, but we are looking for opinions from that community specifically as we're setting up the event. All right. And I am going to open it up to questions.
I know we spoke a lot and shared a whole lot of information. We will be able to send you an email, a follow-up with everything that we discussed, just so you have that as well. But we definitely wanted to open it up for questions now that you can either come off mute or put in the chat box if anyone has anything about what we talked about today. Cindy asked where are the committee meetings held. At the moment, we would probably be starting off virtually, and then once we have the committee put in place, get an idea of where, if we want to meet in person, and where would be the best place to do that. So that I would say is probably hybrid and to be determined.
Yeah, we definitely go off of, especially I'm going to say Philly only because I know this area. I last year had somebody in Center City, somebody in Montgomery County, somebody in Delaware. It was just too hard to find a meeting point. So we tend to do our meetings virtually, but if everybody's located within a certain amount of driving distance, more than happy to do an in-person meeting as well.
And Rick, great question. How do we sign up for specific volunteer opportunities if we're interested? So we're going to send a follow-up to each of you, kind of getting an idea of, based on what we discussed, if there's a specific area that you're interested in. So we'll be able to kind of sign up through email communication that we'll start putting out. And then we'll also send back out that QR code. So if you were interested in kind of just being in our volunteer database, so that when opportunities come up, we can contact you, we'll send that link out again, so you can sign up that way as well. Any other questions at the moment?
I'm sure some will come up, so you guys don't be shy. Please feel free to email us. That's what we're here for. And I want to just give a shout out one more time to Canberra for coming on
late on Saturday
to share with us her experience. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
And just again, in terms of next steps, give some thought to where your interest is. What's your passion? Are you really great at decorating and you want to be part of the Hope Village committee? Are you really into relationship building and maybe want to make outreach to teams? Or are you really good at, or do you have some management skills and want to help manage our volunteers? So give some thoughts to where you want to be and whether that's as a, as a lead or part of the committee. So we will be looking for a lead for each area, and then each area will have its own committee. So encourage you to give some thought to that. Again, we'll follow up with all the information so you can take another look, and then we'll connect to kind of get an idea of where interests lie. And then we'll be starting to get our operations committee meetings going after summer, which is crazy to think, but that's coming up really soon. So, so thank you all so much for joining. Again, it was so great to see so many people and hear from so many of you in the chat. I see so many people that have been supporting for so long. So thank you all, and look for an email coming from us soon. Here's our contact information should you have any questions in the meantime.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great
Appreciate you.
afternoon.
Thank you, you too.
Bye.
See you soon.
Thank you.